And in today's math lesson, you are going to learn how to use objects to model addition stories. So let's get started. So the words that you're going to need to learn are numbers. Now, numbers are what we use to tell how many of something we have. For example, let's take the number 3 and the number 5. These two numbers are just symbols to tell how many of something we have. For example, let's say I have some pencils. So I have 3 pencils. And we use the number to show how many pencils we have. All right, so now I'm going to give you another word. Let's say in all. You're going to hear me use that phrase a lot in this lesson, in all. And all that means is, how many do you have all together? Again, using the pencil example, I have 3 pencils all together. Or I have 3 pencils in all. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I'm going to give you an example of a number story. All right, so let's say I have 4 red birds sitting on a fence, and 3 birds come to join them. Well, what can I use to show 4 red birds sitting on a fence and 3 red birds or 3 birds sitting on a fence? I know. I could use counters to show 4 red birds sitting on a fence and 3 birds coming to join them. So I'm going to turn my screen and I'm going to show you how I use counters. So I'm going to use a red counter for the first group, and then I'm going to use yellow counters for the second group of birds. All right, so now I'm going to turn my screen so you can see my whiteboard. All right, so 4 red birds. I'm going to show 4 red birds sitting on a fence. So I'm going to use the red counters to show 4 red birds. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I want to show 3 birds sitting on a fence too. So I'm going to use a different color counter. Yellow. 1, 2, and 3. Now, in order to find out how many birds are sitting on a fence in all, I want to join the 2 groups. So here's my first group and here's my second group. Now I'm going to join them together so I can count how many there are in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 birds sitting on the fence. Okay, now let's say you don't have counters. You can also use connecting cubes, but you must use them in 2 different colors. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some more examples. I'm going to turn my board around so that you can see some more examples. Now, here is the worksheet. You got to take out your worksheet. It is located inside your green plastic folder. You'll find the counter sheet, but the worksheet you will find in your colored math folder. All right, so now let's start the worksheet. I want you to write your name on the top. Okay, so lesson 1, central question, how do you add numbers? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to figure out how you add numbers. So here's my story. 3 children are swinging. 1 child is on the slide. How many children are at the park in all? I'm going to write the number. So now, how am I going to show 3 children are swinging and 1 child is on the slide? Well, I can use counters. So I'm going to use counters to show 3 children are swinging. So I'm going to use red counters to show the 3 children. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to use a different color counter to show one child is on the slide. Now, in order to find out how many children are at the park in all, I want to combine or join these two groups and count how many there are in all. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 children at the park in all. So I will write the number 4 here. Next, I'm going to turn this over to the see and show. See and show. It says there are 4 ducks in the pond. 4 more ducks walk to the pond. How many ducks are there in all? So here are your 4 ducks on the pond, in the pond, and here are the 4 ducks walking to the pond. Now, how can I show the 4 ducks in the pond, and how can I show 4 ducks walk to the pond? Well, I can use counters. Now, here is a counter sheet. I could also use this sheet to demonstrate or to model the 4 ducks in the pond and the 4 ducks walking to the pond. If you don't have counters, remember you can use 2 different colors of counters and you can place them in the circles. So since I have counters, I am going to use the counters to demonstrate the 4 ducks in the pond and 4 ducks walking to the pond. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 ducks that are in the pond. Now, boys and girls, I want to use a different color to show 4 ducks walking to the pond. So I'm going to use yellow. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to join the 2 groups together and count how many ducks there are in all at the pond. So I will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I will trace the number 8. Next, tell a number story. Use 2 colored counters. Then write how many in all. So by this picture, I have to come up with my own number story. So I see 5 turtles on the mound and 1 turtle crawling up to the mound. So how can I show 5 turtles on the dirt mound and 1 turtle crawling up to the mound? I can use counters. So I'm going to use red counters to show the number of turtles on the mound. And I can also use this counter sheet, or I can place my counters right here on the paper. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me move this over so it won't slide down. Let's see, 5. It keeps sliding down. So I'm going to move it over some more so I can get them all there. All right, so that's my 5. Now there's 1 turtle trying to climb up to the mound. So I'm going to use a different color. It's my different color right there. Now I want to join the 2 groups and count how many there are in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 turtles in all. So I'll write that number 6. Okay. Next, I have to tell a number story, and then I have to use 2 color counters to write how many in all. So I see 3 birds at the flower patch and 2 more birds flying to the flower patch. Again, I'm going to use counters to show how many birds there are in all. Okay, so I'm going to use my red counters to show a group of 3 birds. Here I'm going to use them on top. Now I want to use a different color to show the 2 birds that are flying to the flower patch. 1, 2. In order to determine how many birds there are in all, I will join the 2 groups and then I will count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 birds at the flower patch. Then I will write that number 5. Now we're going to talk math. Tell how you put groups together. I put groups together by making a larger group. Okay, so I put the 2 groups together to make a larger group. And that's what I will write. I put 2 groups together I'm going to bring this up so that you can see it. To make a larger group. Period. Okay, boys and girls. So, this is the see and show. I used 2 color counters to help me determine how many of these objects I have in all to tell my number story. Okay, so now I'm going to remove these counters. I'm going to turn my sheet over to the on my own. On my own means, boys and girls, that you have to do this all by yourself. So on my own, it says tell a number story. Use 2 color counters. Write how many in all. Now, if you don't have 2 color counters, again, you can use 2 different colors of your connecting keys. Okay, you're going to use your counter sheet. You place them on top. Okay. Now, the helpful hint says, this is very, very important to use your helpful hint. It says place red counters or your connecting cubes on the first group and place yellow counters on the second group. Okay, so here you have 2 foxes inside a den, and you have 2 foxes walking to a den. So what they want you to do is place your counters on the different groups. Okay, let's take this from here. Then you're going to combine them, join them, and count how many there are in all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you write the number 4. So boys and girls, you're going to complete numbers 3, 4, and 5 by telling your own number story. Use your counters or your connecting cues to help you. And then on the other side is problem solving. For number 6 and 7, you are going to draw a picture to solve. When it says solve, that means you're going to come up with the answer to the story problem. For example, there are 6 gray cats. There are 3 black cats. How many cats are there in all? So you're going to draw cats. If you do not know how to draw cats, guess what you can draw? You can draw circles. Here are your circles. Your circles can represent the cats. Now, you have 2 groups, a group of 6 gray cats and a group of 3 black cats. What if you don't have a gray color crayon? Well, you can use a different color like brown or orange or yellow. Okay. Now, boys and girls, you don't want to use purple or blue or red because there's no cats in that color. Okay, so once the first group of gray cats, you're going to color one color, and then the other group of cats, you're going to color black. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with number 7. You're drawing pictures of a flashlight. And if you do not know how to draw a flashlight, you can draw sticks or rectangles. Okay, and then you join the 2 groups, count how many there are in all, and write the number. And last, for right math, how do you find how many objects there are in all? And this goes back to your learning target or your learning objective, where you had to use objects to model. Okay, so in this case, how do you find how many objects there are in all? Well, what did we use to show, or what did we use to model our number stories? We used connecting cues, or we use counters, or we use connecting cues. So what we do, we use counters or connecting cues to join the groups, and then we count how many in all. Again, we use counters or connecting cues to join the groups and count how many in all. And that's how you find how many objects there are in all. Okay, boys and girls, so this concludes our lesson on addition stories. Enjoy. Oh, before we do that, there's one other thing I meant to tell you. So you're going to take page 14. You're going to take page 14. After you're done, you're going to post it to your Seesaw journal. And then when you're done with that, you have a homework page. Okay, so I'm going to turn my screen back over and go over your homework. Okay, so here you write your name on the top, front and back. And it says homework helper. This area, this rectangular box is very important. You want to always read this. For example, There are 3 marshmallows on one plate. There are 2 marshmallows on the other plate. How many marshmallows are there in all? So you have 2 groups. You join them together and you count how many there are in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 marshmallows. So this is giving you an example of what you're going to have to do for your practice. Number 1 and number 2. Okay, so you will tell a number story, you make up your own number story, then you write how many there are in all. Okay, do that for number 1 and number 2. Then on the back of your homework, page 16, here you have to draw a picture to solve or to give the answer. Ella has 5 carrots. She gets 3 more. How many carrots does Ella have in all? So you will be drawing carrots. And don't worry if you don't know how to draw a carrot, you could use sticks or rectangles, but you're going to do your best. Or you can even use your circles to represent your carrots. You're going to have 2 groups, a group of 5 carrots and a group of 3 carrots. And then you join them and count how many there are in all. Write the number here. So you're going to finish numbers 3, 4, and your test practice question. Okay. And then you're going to take a picture of this page and post it to your Seesaw journal. Okay. All right. So remember, you're posting 2 pages to your Seesaw journal. You're going to post the problem solving page, and here it is here, page 14, and page 16 of your homework. So you must write your name on both sheets before you submit them to your Seesaw journal. So you write your name on both sheets before you post them to your Seesaw journal. Enjoy, boys and girls.